I don't think I ever understood gut permeability until I met you, because I was like, this chick is interesting. It's got to be nuts. But then to find out and understand the science behind it. Not that I didn't trust you, but I had to back out of some things that I had learned. Mm-hmm. And I think because I learned to trust you, I was motivated to go learn some more, because you completely changed not only how I help breastfeeding moms, but how I treat patients.
This is Dr. LaChiana Hamilton. She is a pediatric nurse practitioner. She's a 2014 Tillman Scholar. She received the scholarship while at University of South Florida, receiving her doctorate degree in nurse practicing, and I am honored to know her and be her friend.
And hello, this is Dr. Trillitye Paullin. I met her at the University of South Florida. She is a 2014 Tillman Scholar, and she pursued a PhD in cellular biology, which is absolutely amazing.
When LaChiana and I first met, we actually met at an event where the University of South Florida was announcing and putting together kind of some publications around who their scholars were for 2014, which was really exciting because there was actually 3 scholars that year from the University of South Florida, which is a big deal. And so it was LaChiana, myself, and Dave Welker, who all received the scholarship from University of South Florida. And so we met when they were doing a photo shoot, when we got to kind of get to know each other, and it was super entertaining because we were all very awkward. Back in 2021, I reached out to the Tillman Scholar community, and a lot of people in the Tillman Scholar community knew about this crazy idea that I had for a company called Free to Feed to help parents navigate food allergies. And I reached out to the community and said, hey, I need support. I really need help in this endeavor that I'm trying to tackle. And LaChiana raised her hand, and I was so excited that it was 1, a Tillman Scholar, 2, a friend, and 3, she's a pediatric nurse practitioner. There couldn't be a better human to come and join lockstep with me to build Free to Feed, and we have been off to the races ever since. We have had good and bad and ugly and tears that are happy and sad along the way. I have to say that my favorite thing about LaChiana is how incredibly dedicated she is to helping families that need help. She not only is able to see them and give them the empathy and love and support that they deserve, but she also brings her whole self to every single situation and case and friendship that she has. And not only do I appreciate that as her friend, but I appreciate that as her co-founder, because every scenario that we have navigated together, I know that she's coming with her whole self, and that is something that you don't find often.
You make me think about when I heard you give your speech, or her spiel. She was on the stage at one of these Tillman events, and Trill gave a talk about Free to Feed. And as I listened to her talk about her journey and how she nursed not only 1 but 2 children who had allergies to breast milk, she founded this company. When I first heard the spiel, I thought, that is crazy, it's nuts. But if anybody can pull it off, Trill can pull it off, because what's interesting, it was very different from what you learn in school, medical school, or school to be a nurse practitioner. Some of the things she talked about with regard to breast milk. And so not only has she had to work hard to change the landscape by which we practice, she brought science along the way with her. So when I first heard the idea, I can't lie and tell you, I was like, oh, that's doable. But I knew that from what I knew of her, it is doable. So I was like, crazy idea, when can I start? Because it was very contrary to anything I had learned, but I believed in her idea. And as I heard her talk about trying to test her own breast milk on a cow's milk strip when she worked in a dairy plant, I was thinking, how unique is that? But then she had to use the science to determine why she couldn't test her own breast milk, because the proteins are very different. So as she birthed this company and went through several iterations of working with different people to learn the science behind cow's milk protein allergens, she has genuinely changed the way that I practice and care for kids, and helping me understand, not only as a provider, that sometimes there's things we simply don't know. And you have to open up your mind to the possibilities so that you can help people on a whole different level. So not only have I learned from Trill how to help breastfeeding moms, but I've had to take it upon myself to learn more about breastfeeding so that I could practice in such a way that supports free to feed, and it helps me learn how to help our consultants feed infants with food intolerances. So it's been quite the unique ride. Earlier today, I learned something else new about you. And the picture, my favorite Trill picture, is a picture of her pumping breast milk in the back of a Humvee in her military uniform and her T-shirt. And today you told me that that was one of your favorite military moments, when you realized that you could be one of many things, that you could not only support and defend our country, but that while doing so, you had an opportunity and made a space for yourself to pump your own milk so that you could continue feeding your children. Even though the journey was very, very difficult, you managed to accomplish this amazing task. I watched you get married. I got to meet your children, travel to your lab space and see you in your lab coat. And those were all such rewarding experiences. Because I'd say I helped you grow up, but I got to watch you blossom, and change tides and learn how to pivot. I think you taught me what it means to pivot. And I think I've been pivoting ever since.
Now we're dizzy. There's so many pivots. I think one really fascinating fact about LaChiana and I that I like to share is that when people say, like, oh, you and LaChiana are really close, LaChiana is actually quite the artist as well and creative. And she's over here, surprise, creative. Not only did I get to meet her when we were like in the thick of school and everything, she took my oldest daughter's newborn photos.
Oh my goodness, I almost forgot about that.
Right? So we were named Tillman Scholars in 2014. I had my first daughter, June, in 2015. LaChiana came over to my house as I was super postpartum, very fresh. We had a newborn, little squishy baby, right before we started navigating food allergies. Literally probably like a week or so before we started navigating really bad symptoms. And she came over and took pictures with my newborn, and these adorable, incredible newborn photos in like my military hat. I remember June peeing in my military hat.
Oh yeah! Oh my gosh, that's a memory.
Yeah. So my newborn peed in my patrol cap for the military because we put her in there. She was so tiny. So LaChiana came over and did all of our newborn photo shoot for my oldest. And then it wasn't probably 2 weeks later that we were navigating, like really being in the thick of food allergy reactions and symptoms. And from there, LaChiana and I, not only did we navigate like pieces of parenthood together and then pieces of service projects together, because the Tampa region really got together and said we want to do service projects, right? Like if we're going to spend time together, like let's go do something cool. Let's go do something good for our community, which like I love. And so we slung bags of concrete together.
Yep. For the little duplexes where veterans could go and stay.
Yeah.
Clean up a cemetery.
We cleaned up a cemetery together. We cleaned up we did a full big landscaping project with the Mission Continues and Team RWB with the Pat Tillman Foundation at one of the Florida veteran gardens and memorials, and where they even have they had a little brick for Pat Tillman that we got pictures of June, my youngest, who was like barely walking at that stage. And LaChiana's family came, and the rest of the scholars were there. And then into graduation, and then moving to different parts of the country, both of us.
Yes. You moved to Idaho?
I moved to Idaho.
And I moved to South Carolina.
And you moved to South Carolina. And eventually ended up in North Carolina. But we go back.
Yeah, and I think even though we do life so separate, we're able to come together once a year when we come here, and it's nice to get to see a familiar, friendly face and you have a good heart. You love service projects, and I'm not gonna lie and say I like outside work. But for you, I did outside work. And I even drug along my husband who does the outside work on my behalf.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I was like, come on. Hey.
And the kiddos.
Yep. I love service, but outside.
Yeah.
But I did it. And it was so fun. It was it was
rewarding.
Rewarding.
Yeah.
Very rewarding.
Yes, very much so. And now LaChiana and I have a team of close to a dozen staff and contract members that work for us and with us that have the same driving force and goal and mission, which is to help fellow food allergy parents, and that's really incredible.
Yeah, I think it was when we first started bringing on consultants. Trill found a wonderful lady named Annie, who we brought on board. She helps train and lead our other consultants, but Annie's been instrumental in helping grow the company. And so now we have a host of breastfeeding counselors and nutritionists and moms who were helped by Free to Feed and then in turn want to help others. And in this process, we found a whole host of medical professionals who are starting to think like us. A couple months ago, I was telling Trill I read a note from an allergist who apparently read some of my work, my referrals, and then I started to see the stuff that I put in my referrals to write to him in his notes as well. And it was pretty neat to see that evolve, because some allergists actually laughed at us when we talked about items that transferred to mom's breast milk, and that they didn't believe that food could be out of your milk in 24 to 48 hours. They were like, no, 30 days. I'm like, the only thing that stays with you that long is fat. And we could all attest to that. You hold on to fat. But like, how do we hold on to all these other things? So hopefully we can continue finding other providers to kind of join forces so we can help moms reach some of their breastfeeding goals.
What I think is really incredible about LaChiana's dedication is, for example, not only is she so incredibly willing and able to learn and have this open mind to say oh, that's not something that I'm familiar with or that I've seen or known before, but I'm curious and I'm interested, all the way to the point of LaChiana wanted to understand the problem and be able to help families, to the point of her going and getting a lactation certification, going in and attending extra school to get an extra certification to be more supportive, even more than she already is, not only in her pediatric practices, but also for Free to Feed, and to better understand our consultants and the work that they do. And that just I can't even imagine a person that I would rather stand alongside to build a company with than the person that says, you know what, actually I don't know quite enough about this particular problem that we're helping with. Why don't I go learn? Why don't I go learn and glean that information? And not only did she learn, but she even came back to me with hey, did you see in this training, they're not talking about food allergies, right? How do we fix that? How do we fix the fact that they could train better about food allergies and we know better?
But the medical community is a very hard community to break into. I can sadly say that very little of what we learned is in nutrition. And so we teamed up to go speak at a breastfeeding event where, even though I'm not a nutrition specialist, we were able to talk about nutrition and the American diet and ways to help moms. I don't think I ever understood gut permeability until I met you, because I was like, this chick is interesting. It's got to be nuts. But then to find out and understand the science behind it, not that I didn't trust you, but I had to back out of some things that I had learned. And I think because I learned to trust you, I was motivated to go learn some more, because you completely changed not only how I help breastfeeding moms, but how I treat patients. Because that understanding, oftentimes getting someone to just listen to what your complaint is and to try to understand it is hard to do. But when you meet someone who's had to work through something on your own and come up with a whole platform for how to treat it, that is marvelous. And I appreciate you for that. I think I practice much better because of you and your science and your interesting brain, because I don't know how you came up with it. Oh, I do know how you came up with this. Squirting breast milk on a cow's milk test strip. But the fact that you took it to a whole new level and started to create your own lateral flow test strip and help to teach a whole community about not only the top 4 allergies, but then the other 8, and then you could talk about all 12. And so I am fortunate to get to share in my medical practice what we do with Free to Feed as well, in hopes that people will start to talk about where to find help and continue to find us.
And help that they deserve, right? That support
Yes.
that they really deserve. I think one of the many things that makes LaChiana and I such a good team also is because of our military background. Not only one, I have so much respect for LaChiana and her career path, and the fact that not only pediatric nurse practitioner, co-founder of Free to Feed, parent, wife, also 11 years active duty Army
Yes.
as an officer. And I got to learn something new about LaChiana today as well as we were going through different practices. And today I learned that in those 11 years of active duty service that LaChiana went through in the Army, she earned the rank of major.
We do make me cry.
I'm just returning the favor. She earned the rank of major in the Army, which is such a feat, such an incredible feat today. And what's really incredible that I didn't know is I knew that her father was in the Army as well. And what I didn't know is that he also achieved the rank of major. And I think it's so incredibly important to note the fact that that is, in his day and age especially, but even today, but in his day and age especially, such an incredible feat. And so for LaChiana to share with me today that one of her happiest moments in the Army, and there's lots of not happy moments in the Army, which we also talk about. One of her happiest moments in the Army was receiving the rank of major and having that, one, that she earned that, two, that fulfillment that she got to feel of how that must have felt for her dad to reach that many, many years ago. And what an incredible feat that really is. And I love that she got to experience that too. Not only that she got to experience that, but she earned it. And I know how hard she worked because I know her. I know how hard she worked to earn that rank. And I'm so incredibly proud of her.
I think I'm excited to see you become one of the most badass researchers on the planet, and seeing you continue to evolve as a, I guess what do you call it, a chief science officer. You know, in different agencies and organizations, you have so much to share, so much knowledge, so much love, so much compassion, so much passion. I hope that you'll continue to find groups that you can work with, that you can just help them soar and teach and train and mentor.
I appreciate that. I am most looking forward to seeing LaChiana continue to grow and expand the way that she's helping families. I have seen this really incredible evolution of everywhere from getting her doctoral degree to, I remember her Tillman talk where she's just started talking about proper care for children and doing it the right way and making sure that you're truly supporting families. And now into the space where she is today in helping those underserved communities who truly need it. And I think that in the future, those not only will continue to be a vast need, I think that LaChiana will grow into and continue to address that need. And I can see it being at even a larger scale than what you're doing today. I can see it being a very large scale community effort to ensure that all of the children who deserve care get care. And that is all of them. All of the children deserve care. And,
Thank you for that.
And I'm proud of you. And I'm really excited to see that happen.
I gotta wash my face now.
Right, well now I'm gonna not take out this microphone.